So if you've clicked on this video, it's because you are asking a very important question. Which model of the Meta Quest 3 should I get, the 128GB or the 512GB? Now we're going to answer that question today, but the answer might surprise you. Let's not mess around, let's go! Now it's important to note that even though the size of the storage is 128GB and 512GB, you don't get all that space because the system files take up space in order to work the various features of the Quest. How much does it take up? Well, the answer to that is simply 17.83GB, but let's just round that up to 18GB. That leaves us with usable space of 110GB and 494GB respectively. But how much of that storage will you actually use? Well, let's look at how big our favorite games are. So Medal of Honor takes up a huge 42GB of space. That means you could fit only 2.5 copies of the game onto 128GB and almost 12 copies of it on the 512. Now that game is pretty old, and it isn't a fair comparison as the size isn't representative of 99% of games. So let's look at some other popular modern games like Hitman 3 VR, which is 26GB. So you could fit 4 copies of that onto the 128GB and 19 copies onto the 512GB. Now Assassin's Creed Nexus is 16GB for example, and Asgard's Wrath 2 is a massive 31GB. As you can see, the sizes of the game can vary drastically between titles, and if you've been in the VR space for as long as I have, you would have noticed a dramatic climb in the size of games over the years, and this trend is likely to continue. I'm going to show you my own Quest 3 storage, which currently only has 13GB space remaining. So looking at it, you can see I've got some quite AAA titles in here. I've got about 20 games or so, some medium, some large, and a few applications as well. I've got 13GB of space left. I am currently at the point where I need to install and reinstall games the majority of the time, even if it's a few free, smaller games, which is quite annoying. So what about if I watch movies on the Quest? Well, at 1080p, most of the movies are between 1GB and 3GB, and if you're watching a 3D film, they can range from between 10 and 25GB. So it's likely you could run out of space pretty quickly if you were watching loads of movies and not removing them from your device. But there are certain apps out there now where you could enjoy multiple forms of media without the need of actually downloading them. There's also a few other things to mention. If you are sharing a headset and have multiple profiles set up, you will have to share the space on a headset as well. Also, is that if you want to mod games like Blade and Sorcery and Bone Lab, some mods can be absolutely huge and can take up a lot of space. So what's the verdict? Which Meta Quest 3 should you get? Well, I'm going to come out and say that the 512GB would be my recommended model. The reason I recommend this one is because it allows you to not worry about uninstalling and reinstalling games in the future. You can record videos a lot more, and if you are planning on modding Blade and Sorcery, Nomad, Bone Lab or Beat Saber, or any other games for that matter, you will need a lot of space, as some mods can take up many gigabytes. Now, I would only consider the 128GB if most or all of the following applies to you. So if you don't play many AAA games at a time, or don't care that you may have to uninstall and reinstall games eventually, you don't intend on recording many videos or any at all, you won't be sharing a headset with somebody who wants to install many different games, you can't really justify the extra cost of the 512GB, or you wouldn't play it often. So guys, that's it.